During the Late Iron Age, around 2,200 years ago, there emerged a nomadic empire from the steppe grasslands of northern Asia, which changed the course of history forever. Ancient Chinese historians referred to the people who founded this incredible empire as the Xiongnu. This is their story. In the vast steppe grasslands of modern-day Mongolia and Siberia were several different confederations of warring nomadic tribes. Chinese historians considered these people as barbarians, who were constantly warring amongst each other as well as against the Chinese. One such confederation were known as the Xiongnu. Led once by this fierce warlord named Tuman, the Xiongnu often conducted raids into Han Chinese territory. They were a fierce nomadic people, adept at using cavalry and horses and sophisticated bronze and iron weaponry. Tuman was a feared leader who often commanded the Xiongnu hordes into enemy territory, terrorizing their neighbors and other warring tribes. Tuman had two sons of his own, from two different concubines. One of these sons was named Modu. The young Modu showed great promise from an early age. However, Tuman preferred and showed much favoritism towards his son from his other concubine. The Xiongnu were bitter enemies with another nomadic confederation called the Yuezhi. In 205 BC, there erupted a bitter conflict between the Yuezhi and the Xiongnu led by Tuman. In an effort to negotiate peace and prepare his preferred son to succeed him, Tuman offered to give away the young Modu as a hostage to the Yuezhi. Several years passed, and during his time as a hostage, Modu grew as a brave and capable warrior of his own. Hearing of his hostage son's prowess as a warrior, Tuman played a sly move on his Yuezhi rivals, attacking their territory with his men, hoping this betrayal would prompt the Yuezhi to kill Modu and secure his preferred son's succession. However, the brilliant and capable young man that Modu was, before his captors could get to him, Modu snuck out of his Yuezhi camp. Stealing a horse and galloping across the vast North Asian steppe, Modu made his way back into the Xiongnu territory. As the young Modu made his way back into his homeland, Tuman's own soldiers cheered and praised the return of their prince. However, Tuman looked on, concerned and worried whether his son had unmasked his betrayal. The prince and his father confronted each other eye to eye, but soon Modu submitted to his father and acknowledged his leadership as the Xiongnu celebrated this peace and reunion between father and son. In an effort to promote further peace and harmony, Tuman awarded his newly returned son the command of 1,000 men. Over the next year, Modu honed his reputation as a warrior and commander, leading his men into several raids and battles. He ensured absolute loyalty from his men, in one instance training his archers to fire their arrows, without question on his chosen target, under the threat of executing those who disobeyed him or questioned his motives or leadership. Several months after returning, Modu invited his father on a hunting trip, with several of Modu's men joining them in the hunt. The father and son amicably got along during the trip, often laughing and being cheerful with one another, which further showed their soldiers their strengthened bond. At one time during this trip, the elder Tuman walked along further away from his hunting party. Modu commanded his archers to position their bows. And then, finally, he decisively commanded his archers to fire their arrows at his unsuspecting father. Tuman was struck in the back and killed instantly. Tuman's action had finally come full circle, and his son had avenged his betrayal and the effort to dispose him as heir. Modu quickly consolidated absolute power, imprisoning and executing his favored half-brother and his stepmother, and all those who opposed him and refused to recognize his authority. Finally, after vanquishing all his enemies, Modu was crowned the leader of the vast Xiongnu Confederation and given the title Chanyu, thereby coming to be known in the historical record as the Great Modu Chanyu. Modu Chanyu quickly and decisively cemented his reign over the Northern Asian Steppe, and soon set his sights on conquering his next target, the vast empire of the Han Chinese.